Welcome back. Listen up. Do you have a lot of goals for yourself but never seem to accomplish them? Molly?
Huh?
Just kidding. Me? Calling myself out. Our next guest wants to help.
Tiffany Yvonne is a CPA. She's a speaker and leadership coach. She's here to help you go from goal to game plan. I'm so nervous because earlier I said turning quitters into losers. I'm like, what am I talking about here? What's fascinating is there are a lot of quitters and losers because you say the research shows that 43% of people by this time in February have abandoned their New Year's goals.
I know.
And are even calling it Quitters Day at a certain point.
They really do. And you know, we don't think they're losers. They're just overwhelmed and they need a game plan. That's all.
Yeah. And you got to start over. You got to be willing to start over. I think that's a big thing too. Okay, so what's the difference between, you say, a goal and a game plan? Because I do love this differentiation.
Yeah, you know, there's a parable that says, without vision, the people perish. Same for your goals, right? So you got to have a goal, but the difference really is that plan on what you do in the messy middle. When you've made this plan and you think it's going along, then something happens. How do you keep going when you want to quit? And so proactively planning for that. If you think about like a basketball game or a football game, they don't just say, we're going to run this play. They say, if this happens, we'll do this. And if this happens, we'll do this. So the ability to proactively plan how you'll respond to that change and challenge when it pops up.
Yeah. There's this great book, Atomic Habits, that we've talked about many times. And one of the things it says that's a big obstacle for people in accomplishing a goal is boredom. Like when it gets to be routine and mundane, like say it's working out or something, and it's like you just don't feel like it. So it's overcoming sometimes the mundane.
Absolutely. They say, you know, everybody talks about SMART goals. They gotta be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, but I teach smarter goals. So we just put an ER on the end. They have to also be exciting, and a little bit risky, because you're like, can I do this?
Yeah.
That's
I like that, because a lot of people know the SMART acronym for goals, but adding the ER really ups it, you know? Okay, so should everybody keep their goals, whether you're a team or an individual? Because what if you find out that goal isn't serving you or isn't getting you where you want to get in that strategy?
Yeah, I think that's why we start with vision, right? So you got to know where you are and where you want to be. Consider what's getting in the middle. And the issue with having too many goals is that it's not like because we set these goals, life just pauses and waits for us to achieve those goals. So the key is to have 1 to 3 goals, right? They say the more goals you have, the less likely you are to achieve them. And if you think about quitting some of your goals or not keeping all of your goals, you want to stop because it's no longer aligned with the vision or it's no longer strategically beneficial to your team, not just because it got hard.
Interesting,
Yeah, that's so fascinating because last year you were talking about that. The quitters are winners. So people think quitting a goal even is a bad thing, where sometimes it's okay to give one up, especially if you have multiple goals, because it doesn't fit your vision or the plan anymore.
Absolutely. You want to figure out which ones are like wildly important. And that's why they really need to be value driven, you know, not just like, oh, it would be nice to lose 20 pounds, you know, but you want to know the why behind the thing. I always say when people know their why, they find their way. So that keeps you going when you want to quit.
Again.
When you know your why, right, you find your way, right? Because it's so important to you. It's purposeful, and you had set that vision of like, at the end of this, I'm going to have this. And whatever that is, right, is so important to you that even when you don't feel like doing it, you're like, all right, you know, one more time.
Yeah.
Give us some tips or what is a strategy to get to those right goals? Because I think a lot of times we just make a to-do list and we think that's our goal list.
Yeah.
But the strategy is missing. So what is a strategy to get us to those goals?
So a strategy to create the goals that you should really be focused on is really figuring out your why, right? What do I want my life or my work to look and feel like, right? What is going to give me the biggest bang for my buck? Because I'm still going to be caught in that hamster wheel of the day-to-day things I got to do. So figuring that out, what gives you the most impact, and kind of like what allows me to merge my impact with my income. And then it's not this switch between like work life and real life, right? It's saying like the work I'm doing actually is creating impact, so I'm able to merge those things. And so when you're able to do that, that's how you figure out the goals that are really worth sticking to.
Everything she
I was
says
just
has meat in it. We talk about that. We talk about like people who say things that just has such great content. It's like there was so much there. I felt like I feel like I want to just write everything down. I know it was a book in 5 minutes.
I mean, really, like that was a lot of good content.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
Just repeat it all real quick.
They can just run this back, right? They can run this back and listen to it and take a few notes.
No, it was really
you're
good.
fabulous.
I'm grateful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we so appreciate your time and all those suggestions. To save your seat at Tiff's free Goals to Game Plan Summit, you got to go to the website. It's goalstogameplan.com. And to rewatch this segment, you can just go to themorningblend.com because there's so much good stuff there.